Hey everybody, what's up? It's Chris from T3 Handicapping, and I'm here to bring you the card from Indiana Grand on Thursday, October 21st, 2021. As always, you can follow the picks on Twitter at HandicappingT3, and you can purchase the picks and all of our associated products on t3handicapping.weebly.com. Before jumping into Thursday's card, let's take a look at Wednesday and see how things went. As you can see, overall, pretty good day. Of the 8 races, we had 5A selections, including back-to-back top selections in races 5 and 6. You can see the win mutuals over here. We did have every single horse in the races on our card. So we had 5 winners in the A category. We had 2 winners come from the B, and then 1 winner come from the C. It was a pretty formful day. Nothing significantly huge with the win payouts. You can see we had 2 best bets after scratches getting taken off the turf. One of them won, paying 620 to win, which was helpful on the ROI. I did not do very well with my best bets over at Keeneland, and so this winner helped for sure improve some of that ROI a little bit. And then the Tisway Forever just did not hit the board at all. Got bet way down from 10 to 1 down to 9 to 5, and just didn't fire. So overall, pretty good day in terms of the selections. Happy with where we're at. We'll look to finish up the week strong here at Indiana Grand. Now, if you are looking to play on Thursday, we do have 3 tracks available. So if you want to go and get the stuff for Thursday's cards, we have Indiana Grand, Keeneland, and Gulfstream all available within your package. For any given track, remember that you get the pick sheet on page 1, as well as the race summaries. And again, I have those for Indiana, Keeneland, and Gulfstream. So I'm going to just pop over here. I made some changes to the store today. So here you can see the website. And if you come over here to our buy button, you'll notice that I've just updated it. So tomorrow, since we have multiple tracks running, I've actually got the all track packages. And so you can actually download all 3 for $5. Or you can download each one individually for $2. It's up to you. You save $1 if you bundle them all, or you can just purchase the track you're planning on playing. And I will continue to set it up like this anytime that we have multiple tracks running. If we just have a single track, I usually just put it in as the package deal. Down here is the pick sheet. You can see the one from 1017 there, so that is not updated. There will be a new pick sheet available for $2 on Friday, and that will cover the Friday tracks. I only do those pick sheets on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just because that's when we have the 3 tracks running. So you can kind of see a little change. I hope that makes it easier to find exactly the product that you are looking for. And as always, if you would like a special product created, just shoot me an email. I'd be happy to work with you to come up with an arrangement so that we can get you handicapping the races that you want to. So check out that store. We're constantly making improvements, and thank you for your continued support of our products and these videos. So let's jump in then. Without any further ado, let's jump into today's action. This is again Thursday's action from Indiana Grand. And as you can see, prior to scratches, we do have a number of best bets. We've got 5 on the card in race number 1. The number 4, Lush Be a Lady, who morning line is, kind of a ridiculous price at basically 2 to 5. So that one's going to be tough to beat, or certainly tough to get any value on. But I do have some that rated out here at some better prices. So Polyester Bride, the number 4 in race 3, is 8 to 1. You've got $1 Million Red at 4 to 1 in race number 4. Gravitron at 6 to 1, and Son of Batman at 6 to 1. So some decent prices out there. And I think it could be a day where, even though it looks like it's going to start very formful and hard to make money there, it does look like there are some opportunities to cash some tickets further down the list. So let's jump into the races and let's see exactly how we came up with these numbers. So here we have race number 1, class level 22, 8 furlongs, and the surface is dirt. This is projecting to have a moderate pace, as we can see by the deer icon over here. We know that at Indiana Grand, early runners are uh, are most successful. That seems to be the one that has the best overall run. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting about this race is it's a class level 22, so these are not great horses. Now, Lush Be a Lady comes in at 2 to 5 on the morning line, and you can see that Lush Be a Lady definitely makes sense in a lot of cases. But to me, this is not the kind of race, particularly at this class level, where I'm thinking dominance. So I really like Prized Cupcake. And so even though Lush Be a Lady comes out as a best bet based on the algorithm, this is a situation where I might be looking to use somebody else as well. I probably want to use She's My Treasure a little bit, maybe a little bit of Jack's Finale in there. Um, and then maybe Prized Cupcake as well. Prized Cupcake I like because I'm getting the stamina. According to my numbers, this horse outclasses the field. Certainly comes out for decent connections. Could get a good race flow setup. The 1 and the 6 I like because I'm looking here at pace. And I'm seeing that they're at least going to be close to where the 4 is going to be running early. Could I be wrong? Sure, but at this level, I'm looking to take a stand against, even though the 4 fits on a lot of levels. Um, it's just always scary to take such a short price on horses that are at such the bottom of the barrel. It just seems to be more unpredictable things happen in these types of races. So I think 4 is the most likely winner, but I think, especially being the first race, this is a great opportunity for me to take a big stab, maybe single the 5 in doubles, or just do like a bigger double here. So go like 1, 5, and 6 into, and then let's see if we can find something a little bit more enticing coming into the second race here. In this race, my top rated horse is Guard, but I do also like Got Lost and Ship Shape. So, what I was just talking about trying to play the 1, 5, and 6 into something tight here, I'm not really sure I can do that because I think the 1 and the 4 are definitely major players. I'm not sure I love the 6. So I may end up just going something real small, maybe a $2 double. Take let's say maybe the 1-5 from the last race and put them into the 1-4 here. I'll eliminate Ship Shape coming from off the pace. It's a slow paced race. I'm not going to use that horse coming from out of it, even though, you can see he's got like a really good power rating. Again, you're at class level 22. So if I can fade the favorite, especially when the favorite doesn't rate out as the top horse in my numbers, that's something I'm going to look to. So I probably go $2 double, 1-5 in the previous race into 1-4 in this race. And, in that case, I'm fading two favorites, at least on the morning line, and should be able to make some value there. But this is a really difficult way to start the Thursday card, and probably a sequence that at the end of the day, unless the doubles are just paying astronomically and it's worth the risk, I may just sit on my wallet, or I may just even go minimums, just a $4, so $1 daily double for $4, and see if I can hit the moon. And if I don't, I'm only out a couple bucks. Again, coming into race number 3, we have another low class level here with 22. We're going 8 furlongs on the dirt again, and this one to me seems wide open. As we look up and down, I always kind of like to do the eye test here in this middle column. So, you know, you've got 5 who hits on 3 different things. You've got 6 who hits on 2. You've got 1 and 3 who each hit on 1. That's a pretty spread out board, and for low level horses, that's something that suggests that we're probably in for a lot of potential outcomes. Ultimately, in this race, the one that I landed on was the number 4. And in fact, when you actually do the aggregate scoring, the 4, with the record at the distance and potentially getting the best of the race flow, the 4 actually comes out as the top rated horse, and by quite a bit actually becomes my best bet. Um, as I'm looking over here at my grid, At 8 to 1, that's a really good horse. It's an early run. It's a good horse to use in things like exactas and trifectas because even if the horse doesn't win, you can still make money on it. So I might be inclined here rather than trying to play this early sequence. Looks like it's going to be really tough to play anything horizontally just because there's so much variability that could happen. And if it doesn't, it's not going to pay anything. So maybe here, I'd start looking at some exactas and tries, maybe like a 4-6, 8 to 1, 4 to 1. Just box those two up. Maybe a 1-4-6, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, and then 8 to 1. That would certainly pay well. You've got a 3-4-5, so that would be, well, now you're using a favorite who's closing. I'm not sure I really want to use the 5 here much. So I might take that out. So I might just kind of look for, 1-4, 4-6, and maybe 3-4. Just do kind of an exact key box with that, or even lock all these horses up in a try and just key the fourth in a couple spots, or key the four in a couple spots there and see if I can make something happen. So really, really tough way to start the card. Now moving into the fourth race, we kind of overcorrect a little bit and we go to the exact opposite end of the class ladder. We've got 8 furlongs supposedly on the turf. It's getting to the point where we'll believe it if we see it, but it seems like they've taken everything off the turf in recent days. Numbers are really spread out here, and I think one thing that's always tough is horses are going to scratch out, so you have to forgive yourself a little bit with that morning line in terms of, well, we've got to assign enough points to all of these horses, but we know that some are going to come out of the race. So I ended up landing on Million Dollar Red, and comes out, actually rates out to be a best bet type of horse. You can see in this one there was no separation in terms of class. You can see that all the horses that have been running before have kind of been running at very similar levels, or have a best class level right around each other. So to me, these horses all match up really well. And typically, when I see something like that occur, it takes out kind of the tic tac toe exacta trifecta strategy, just because you're going to end up, if you try and box, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, whatever, there's just too many horses. You just can't do it. And so you're going to have to go in a different direction here. Um, and so that's where I just start to kind of look at some of these in particular. Like, I look at the speed, I look at the race flow, I look at the pace, the form. These are things that start to tip me off to horses that maybe could be successful here. You can see that based on power ratings, based on stamina, based on speed, the 6 looks like the horse to beat. Particularly once scratches come in, things should become at least a little bit more clear, hopefully. Um, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. Speaking of scratches and changes, if you are downloading the products, you're purchasing them, and you're downloading, one thing that's really important is you are able to download the products as many times as you need for 2 days after you purchase it. So if you buy like Thursday's products on Wednesday night, and you download them, you're going to notice that the files end with the letter E. The E means that it's early and that final scratches have not come in. Once I make the early scratches before the races begin, again, I don't update after that. I don't do like late scratches and stuff. It's just too tight of a turnaround. But if you see that the file has an E, it means that it has not been updated for scratches and changes. Once those initial scratches and changes are listed, I re-upload the product, and it should have an F now. So just make sure, if you're going back to get the product, to make sure that it's updated. Just make sure that you're seeing that it's an F at the end of the file name. And if it's not, please just shoot me an email that you don't have it, and I'd be happy to make sure that I get an email over to you. I'm usually at least nearby my computer and can do that. And if it absolutely doesn't work, we can figure something out. But that's just one of those things that's really important to make sure that you're using the most up-to-date information so that you can get access to the picks after they've been updated. Because I know, like in a race like this, if we end up coming off the turf and 8 horses scratch out, this data on this sheet's going to be relatively useless. But the one that says Indiana Final or F, Indiana F, will be much more helpful in your quest to pick winners. So, race number 5, slow. We've got a class level 19, so pretty average horses. I like two horses here. I like Bellerific and Majestic Ice. Um, you can see that obviously Bellerific rates out really well in a lot of our key categories. Majestic Ice is sort of one of these kind of what I call the middler horses, where it just kind of falls in the middle of all of the categories, which makes it sort of the top rated horse, or the one of the top 3 horses, just based on its second here, its third here. So it rates out really well in a lot of categories, even though it's not first in any of them. And so that's kind of where the 3 falls. You've got the 5, who's interesting, shows up in a lot of places, but it just seems like there are faster horses. There are classier horses. There are horses with better records at the distance. There are horses in better form. So you start to go through those things, and you've got a long way down to the number 5. It makes it a little less enticing. So I'd be pretty heavily through the 7-3. But again, this is where you can see, if you're just using the T3 grid, that only uses the top rated horse. So you would not be using the 3 in that situation. So the 7 seems like the major player, but I definitely would want the 3 on tickets as well. Race number 6, we're going class level 15, 8.5 furlongs on the turf. You can see the turf by T. If you are playing the Gulfstream card, just know that the T on there will actually stand for Tapeta. Since they have the synthetic surface, their turf is resting, and so T is in there for their synthetic surface for Tapeta. Eventually, I'd like to get that moved over to an A, but there's some programming that has to go on behind the scenes that I just haven't quite finished up yet. Here we have Gravitron at 6-1. That is my top selection. It's the classiest horse, a co-classiest horse with the 14 Livy B, but Livy B is likely to scratch out. Make Me Laugh is certainly another player. You can see the class levels. I mean, even though Livy B, or I'm sorry, Make Me Laugh is going to be third, you can see there's not a ton of separation between these horses. So an evenly matched group, and even the speed figures like 7, 5, and 1 have all run their best figures north of 75. So this looks like a pretty good race, but I'm going to go with Gravitron and probably Make Me Laugh as sort of my 2 top selections. And then from there, I might want to have a little bit of the Cajun Kid in there, just because if this does end up getting hot, as the pace icon indicates, I want a horse that can come from behind. And as we're just looking quickly through the list, our next off the pace horse doesn't come until Run with Grace at 15-1, who is ungraded in this race. So that's just not something that I want to go with. Moving on to race number 7, class level 8. So again, some pretty good horses, 6 furlongs on the dirt. And for me, Son of Batman just looks really, really good. But again, it is a little concerning that Son of Batman seems to have gotten here based on being sort of a second best in a lot of categories. And to me, that still leaves the door open to the idea that, if speed carries the day, then 6 is going to win. If stamina carries the day, then 6 is going to win. If class carries the day, we've got all kinds of horses that could win this race. Jockey Trainer, the 4 will win. So as you're starting to go down this list, now at 6-1, I can handle that risk. But as I'm starting to look at this, I do want a little bit more inclusion. I'm thinking the 1, Jeff the Runner, is an interesting one. I've got him first in a couple categories. I've got Rockin' All Night first in a couple categories. And they're still showing up elsewhere on the grid as well. It's a tough race, because I think if I really wanted to feel confident in my coverage to say I've got everybody I need, I would want to use all graded horses in this situation. So that would be the 1, the 3, the 4, the 5, and the 6. I could leave the 2 and the 7 off. That doesn't make sense from a bankroll standpoint. And so I think here is going to be one of those separator situations. I'm going to play my ticket to separate myself. I'll play really heavily through Son of Batman. If I'm right, awesome. If I'm not, I'll lose, and I'll be okay with that. But I just think that's the right way to play here, even if I end up being wrong in the end. I think we always have to look at process, not product. It's not about whether or not we cash the ticket. It's about, did the right thought process go into it. and did we give ourselves the best chance to be profitable? Because ultimately, that's the goal. So, in this race, race number 8, class level 17, so pretty typical for Indiana Grand, 8 furlongs on the dirt. And here you can see we've got corner tap at 2 to 1. We've got a moderately paced race, so I don't love to use late coming horses for this. I've got Corner Tap and Tour of the Moon, who both on paper just look to be the best horse. They just look like they might be better than these guys, even if they come from out of the back. Now, that being said, we have seen situations where horses will suddenly throw up a different kind of run style. Kind of miraculously. I will say it is promising to me that Tour of the Moon actually has the fastest pace numbers for this grouping. That leads me to believe that this horse may be a little more forwardly placed, and even 5 should be there. So I'm not as concerned as I would be if I saw just those two completely missing from here. But I'm thinking maybe 1 and 2 and move on, especially with that 8 to 1 in race number 7. I feel like I can kind of get out with some favorites here. I don't love being that heavily through the through 2 S types at Indiana Grand, but I just don't really know where my other options are. I mean, am I going to go through a 20 to 1 horse? Maybe I'll put on a ticket as sort of an interesting player, but am I going to go with Justice the Beast, who's my 5th or 6th ranked horse at 8 to 1, who's supposed to be an early speed type, but from a pace perspective, falls behind 3 other horses. It's not, it's diluting my opinion far too much just for a pace play. And I think that's always an important balancing act is how good do I think this horse is, and how do I think this track is playing, and how do you balance those two things, or what do I think the pace scenario is going to look like, those types of things. And with that, we conclude our thoroughbred portion. I do believe there is one. I think it's a 250-yard race for the quarters in race 9. So good luck to everyone as you play Indiana Grand on this Thursday. Again, if you are playing Keeneland or you are playing Gulfstream, remember to check out our store at t3handicapping.weebly.com/buy, and you can get access to either our all track package for $5, or you can just purchase the individual track packages. Gulfstream, Keeneland, and Indiana, they're all on there. And when you purchase those, you do get access to early stuff right away, but you can come back after scratches and you can download that final product to make sure that you get the most up-to-date and relevant information to cashing tickets at Gulfstream, Keeneland, or Indiana Grand on Thursday. Good luck. Cash those tickets.